Hi, welcome to CraftTime. I'm Miss Stella from the Bethpage Public Library Children's Room. And today what we're going to do is we are going to paint some rocks. So we are going to turn these rocks into bugs. So all you need to do is you need either to go outside and get some rocks, or you could buy rocks in a craft store or a hardware store, and then you decorate them. So if you found these rocks in your backyard, you're going to need to take them and wash them under some warm water and take a scrub brush so that you get them all clean, and then you let them dry. So that would be the first step. Then you need your supplies, which you're going to need paint, which we have here, and you're going to need brushes in order to paint on the rocks. You'll need a jar of water to clean your paintbrushes, and you need paper towels to wipe your brushes. And we could also use some other things, like I use toothpicks, and I'll show you later what we do with that. And I could use some chopsticks, like that. Just a simple, if you have it in the house, and that you could use it to add decorations onto your rocks. But I just want to let you know that any children in grades 4 and 5 that are trying to get 21st Century Scholar credits, you need to watch this video and paint your rocks. And then you either submit a picture of it by email, or you can bring it into the library and you will submit it to our website, which is the Children's Room at bethpagelibrary.info. And you need to submit this by April 13th in order to get credit. And please include your name and your grade so that we know who you are and we could give it into the schools. Okay, so like I said, you're going to go outside, pick your rocks. I just want to show you some shapes. This is a really good shape, okay, so that you can see if you find like this. But any rocks will do. I have big rocks. I have little round rocks. And then all I need is my imagination to create what I want. So let me show you some of the stuff that I did make so that you have an idea of what we're going to do. So here are some ladybugs. I found some rocks, and I painted them. And I used acrylic paint. And it lasted really well. I had these outside all summer. I brought them in for the winter so that they don't ruin outside. And not one of them chipped. And then I also made different kind of bugs that are not really bugs. I just made them because they were pretty. I added colors. I added decorations. And then I just left them outside. Okay. Then I can make a frog. It's a big frog. He has some green, I put orange eyes on him and green paint. I made him pretty. I also found a big flat rock, and on that rock, I took a pencil, and I outlined of the shape, and then I painted it. So remember, you can make anything you want by just using your creativity. All right, so let us begin. Like I said, you need all these supplies. You're going to use the paint. I have a paint palette, so I can mix my paint if I want. I have a jar of water, so I could rinse off my paintbrushes. And you're going to need paper towels to dry your paintbrushes. Again, I always work on some cardboard, or you could put a plastic tablecloth, anything, so you don't get your work area dirty. All right, and you have to be careful with your clothes. Make sure you're wearing something old so you don't ruin it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick our rock. So I'm going to go with this rock, and I'm going to show you how to make a ladybug. So first, I'm going to take my red paint, and I'm going to put it in my palette. And with these rocks, because they're tiny, you need tinier brushes. Like you'll use smaller ones. You could use pointed ones to make lines and shapes. And then when it's a bigger area, you'll use a wider brush so you can get the area done. Now what you have to do, though, is you have to let it dry. So it might be good sometimes to work on two rocks, making two different things, so that you give a chance for the one rock to dry, and then you continue on the next one. So I'm going to put a little paint in my palette. I'm just going to put red. Okay, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush and paint on the rock. First I want to look at it. I want to see which side I would want the head to be. So in looking at it, I think I'm going to make this side his face and this the body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my brush into the paint, and then I just paint my rock. Now sometimes you might have to paint it twice to make it look like nice, neat color. And now I want to make my red up to about here so that I can put his face. So I'm going to just mark it how far I want to go with it. Don't worry about the lines not being perfect. You could always fix them later. Nobody's gonna sit and look and examine it that it's not exactly straight. Okay, so there, I just simply painted on my red. See? Now I'm gonna put it down to dry and just touch up one little spot there, and I put it down to dry. Okay, so then I'm going to take my brush, dip it in my water, and get the paint off the brush. I rub it on the bottom so that all the paint comes off. Okay, get my paper towel and just dry the brush. If I'm not going to use the same brush, I could just leave it in the water for a little while. Now, what I'm going to do is take my black paint to make the head part. So I also have black here. I will put it in my palette. You don't need a palette. I just happen to have it. Other times, I just put the paint directly onto my cardboard and just paint from there. Okay, so wipe my paintbrush good. Now I'm going to dip it in the black. And I just hold the rock in the palm of my hand because it's still drying. And I'm going to now take the black and start painting the front of him to make his head. Okay, so you just carefully paint onto him, okay, to make that head. Again, dip it in the paint. And now, whoops, I have made the head. So there, he's beginning to look like a ladybug. Okay, so I'm going to put him down to dry, because he needs to dry a little. Put my brush in the water. And I'm going to also show you another bug. This one, we're going to take this little rock and we're going to make it a bumblebee. So bumblebees are black and yellow, right? So on this one, what I'm going to do is first paint him yellow. I'm going to put my yellow paint into my palette. Only just need a little bit. And I'm going to squeeze it in there. And I'm going to take my paintbrush that I cleaned off in the jar, rub it around the water, and dry it again with my paper towel. So now this is giving my ladybug rock time to dry while I work on this one. So this one I'm going to actually paint him all yellow first. I'm going to put a light coat. I get the sides too, because the sides can show. So you try to get, as much as you can paint it on them to hide the rock color. And you quickly just paint over it. Pretty simple. Okay, so I have him all yellow. Okay, see how simple that is? Now his body is painted, just like that. Okay, I'm going to put him down and put my brush into the water and get it clean. Okay, you're going to get paint on your hands, but it's all washable. You just use some soap and water and it'll come out. So now, I'm going to look at my ladybug. Right? What does the ladybug need? Ladybug needs some spots, right? So I am going to take my chopstick that I told you about. And what I do with this is I dip it in the paint like that. I just gently put it in the paint, and then I'm going to make the black spots on the ladybug. So let me show you how that's done. Again, if you just hold it in the palm of your hand, it's pretty simple just to hold it like that so that you can balance your hand. And you're going to dip. I just dipped it very lightly, and I'm going to gently touch some areas on my ladybug and just make some spots. See? It's just making the spots. Just using the end of the flat end of the chopstick. See? Just gently put it down wherever you want. You can make as many as you want. Okay? And put there. And I think I'll add another one here. This one looks tiny. I'll make it a little bigger. And now I simply added dots onto my ladybug. What we're also going to do is we're going to add a line in the middle to separate like the two wings that are on the ladybug. Rinse off this, wipe it clean. And for that, I'm going to use a skinnier brush so I can just make a straight line. Again, do not worry about everything being perfect. So again, I'm just going to hold him, dip in the black paint again, and I'm going to go straight down his back like that across and make the line. So I take it and I judge where the middle is, and I'm just going to paint a line. Okay, let's just fix it so it looks neat. And there, I now gave a separation to make the wings on the ladybug. Okay. Then we're going to want to add some eyes on the ladybug, and I'm just going to put little white eyes. Oh, rinsing off my brush, wiping it, and I have white paint. And I'm going to look, just because I only need a little bit, I'm just going to put a little drop onto my cardboard. I'm going to take my paintbrush, dip it in there. And I take my bug and I'm going to look at it and see where do I want his eyes. So I'm going to put his eyes like right over here. And all I do is I just put a little dot with my paint. You can make them as big or as little as you want. And there I have the eyes on my ladybug. And you see how simple that was? You created it and you made a cute ladybug that you could put outside in your garden. You could actually give it as gifts to friends. I dropped some off as a surprise and left them on people's stairs. So when they came outside, they found their special bugs. Okay. Now, as my bumblebee is still drying, I'm going to show you that if you only have a few colors, what we could do is add some different colors to the colors. We could already use what we have in our palette. Now, if I wanted to make a pink bug, I already have red. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of white. I'm going to put the white into the red paint. I'll put a few drops. And I'm going to mix it with my paintbrush. And you'll see that you could get different colors. Now this needs a little more white, and I'm getting a pink color. Actually, it looks nice, the color pink. If you could see it, it became pink. So I'm going to take this pink, I'm just going to paint one of my rocks. I think I'll paint this little one. So again, I'm only going to paint half because I'm going to give him a different color face. So I take the paint and I paint on him. Now remember what I said, I'm just doing this quickly to show you, but you could let them dry and repaint each section so that it's all covered and the color is bright. Again, I'm just going around the sides here and on the top as much as I want. See, I'm only going, I don't know if you can see the color. I didn't paint the front, I'm only painting the back end of this rock. Okay, so he is painted. And I said I don't paint the bottoms of them because the bottom is going to go into the dirt. Now I think I'm going to give him a light green face. There is no such bug. I am just making him up with using my imagination, making this pink creative bug. So in order to make this bug, what I need now is green. I'm going to use the yellow that I had in my palette. I'm going to add a little more because it's almost finished. I'm going to put some yellow. Then I'm going to add blue. I'll just dip some blue in there. And I'm going to start mixing to see what color green I'm going to get from that. Using my paintbrush, I'm mixing the colors. Okay, there's the green, but I want it to be a little lighter than this. So now I'm also going to add some white to it. This I'm just going to put maybe 2 drops. There you go, 2 drops of white. And I'm going to continue mixing it Now I've gotten a lighter green. Okay. I could put a little more yellow and make him a little more limey color. So let's put a little more yellow. Okay, added yellow to that. See in there? And I keep mixing. Okay, now I'm getting happy with this color. I like it now. I think that'll look pretty with the pink that we put on the rock. Okay, so now I'm going to get my pink rock. And I'm going to start making the head part on him. So I'm going to start painting the front of him. And I'm going to go up to where I painted pink and just continue painting on him. Okay, you see? Now I separated his head from his body. And there you go. So I'm going to let him dry now a little, and we're going to go back to working on our bumblebee. Now, we said on our bumblebee, we need to make some black lines. So I'm going to start using, I'm using not too thick, but it's thicker than the thin brush that we used to make the straight line on the ladybug. So now on my bumblebee, I'm going to, see, I want this part, I'm going to make this part his face. And again, I'm going to use black paint. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to make him have a black face because I think he needs, but I'm just going to make a little one. So I'm just going to start here and start painting over the yellow that I painted. Down the sides. Okay. The front of him. Simple brush strokes just to cover the yellow paint. Let's see, let's make it a little thicker his head. I'm going to make it a little rounder like that to give it some dimension. I'm going to paint a little bit on the sides because that's going to show in the, you know, on the when you have it outside. And I just gave him a rounder face. Now I want to make stripes. So you could hold it in your hand like that and put your stripes. You could put it down on your cardboard. I'm going to put them down. And you just judge where you want to make the stripes, okay? So, just going to take my brush. But for you guys to see, I'll do it like this. And I'm just going to go straight across. There's one stripe, and then I'm going to go down the sides. Continue it down the sides. And now I've given him one stripe. All right, I'm going to try to add maybe 2 more because he's a tiny rock. I'm going to then go again right across. Now he's got 2 stripes, and I think we could add 1 more stripe right here. Simple. Just go across, then go down the sides, finish up your lines. Turn, so you're doing this side. There, we have the stripes on our bumblebee. Okay, I'm going to rinse off our brush, and now our bumblebee needs some eyes. So what I'm going to do with this one now is I'm going to take, again, I'm going to show you with the chopstick. I'm going to dip it in the white. I still have a little bit of white left here, but I think I'll add a little more. Okay, I'm going to dip my brush into that, my chopstick into that. And I'm going to give him eyes. I'm going to put them right here. And I just go down. There's one. And I go down again. I'm going to make his eyes closer together. And I make another eye. So I'm going to give that a second to dry off. Wipe off my paint from this. And we're going to go back to our other little rock. Now in this one, I'm going to give him some more decorations. So I'm letting my bumblebee dry over here by my ladybug. And what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to give him some circles. And then we're going to make little tiny dots to make decorations. So with this one, to make a circle, I'm going to show you with the yellow. I'll just put another little yellow dot, because I only need a little drop. Okay, got it there. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in there. And I'm going to take my rock and I'm just going to look at it and say, where do I want to put these spots? All right, so I'm going to start and I'm just going to put one right here. And I'm just going to draw on a circle this time, like that. So I painted it on. Whoop. Let's see if you could see it right there. And I'm going to add a few more, just wherever I want to. They all don't have to be the same size, bigger, little, whatever you want. So I'm just adding them on with the paintbrush. As many as you want. See, I put a bunch. And I just put those all on, remember, with the paintbrush. Now I'm going to take a toothpick. And I like using toothpicks because I can make little tiny dots with that. So I just take one toothpick, all you need, okay? And I'm going to add blue dots. So I'm just going to put some blue on my cardboard. And I'm going to dip the end of my toothpick into the paint. And this way now I have paint on the tip, I don't know if you can see that, of the thing, of the toothpick. I'm going to hold my rock and I'm going to carefully make little dots around those yellow circles. So I'm just going to take it like that and I just put a dot. Very teeny tiny. I'm going to put a little more paint because it's hard for you to see and make it a little bigger. Okay, let me just finish that and you go all around and make dots. And it's kind of going to resemble, I guess, looks like a flower. It has a middle. Just make as many as you want until you complete the circle that you want to make around that yellow polka dot that we made. Let me just bring it up close so you can see how we made little dots around. Okay, let me just make one more to show you. Again, we just put it all around. Just turn the rock as you go to place it. Little dip into the paint. And you go all around. Okay, you see? Now you can continue in the blue. You could change the color and make all different colors. But in order to show you that, I just want to show you on the bigger one what they really look like. See? I made a red circle and then I went all around with a toothpick and I made little yellow dots. Okay? So that's drying and we're going to go back to our bumblebee. You'll finish all those dots. And now we're going to put an eyeballs into the middle of the white of his eyes. So again, I'm just going to take the toothpick. I'm going to use the other end. I'm going to dip it in my palette, in my black paint. Just dip it in. I'm going to take my bumblebee, and in the middle of the white circles, I'm going to add a pupil for him. Let's see. All right. I actually think that these are teeny tiny. You could hardly see them. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch it. Now I'm going to go to the other end of my chopstick, which is thinner. I'm going to dip that in the paint. And I'm going to go onto the middle of this because I think the little dot was too little with the toothpick. So I'm changing it with my white. Okay, and there I gave him some eyeballs, some pupils, okay? And that's our bumblebee. So simple. So now all you do is let it dry. So now our bumblebee and our ladybug are done. Now we're going to finish our pink rock. All right, so we had to have finished our polka dots. So we just taking them and going around. You could even actually get at least 2 dots with the paint on the toothpick. Okay, just go all around and you finish them off. Now we got to think about what do we want to do up with his face. So I think I'm going to make a line down the middle of his face to separate it. I'm going to take my skinny paintbrush, which is still in my jar. I'm going to wipe it off. And using the black, I'm going to put a line between the pink and the green, just to make it fun, okay? So I'm going to just go in between the black and the green. Doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. You just go as much as you can carefully to give it some more depth and interesting look to it. Okay, so look, 1, 2, 3, we went around. Now I'm going to make a line in the middle, just for fun. And we're just going to come straight across there. And that's going to become his face. Let me just fill in that black. And I think I'm going to give him a mouth. So I did not go all the way around. I stopped halfway. So now I'm going to just go sideways like this. And one side like that. And I gave him a little mouth. And then we're going to add eyes to him. I'm going to rinse off my brush. I'm going to wipe it on my towel, and I'm going to paint white eyes. Again, I'm using my paint that I have on my cardboard, and I'm just going to place his eyes right here. Now this one, I'm going to give him an oval shaped eye. So I'm going to make it a little longer and bigger. See, there's one eye. And then I'm going to paint one on the other side. And you just kind of go down, straight like that, and make the shape of the eye that you want. So now he has 2 eyes. I think I need to make one of these just a little. You got to make them kind of look the same size. So I'm looking at it better. When you're working up closer, it's a little hard showing it at the camera. Okay, so now he has his 2 eyes. And we could add some pupils for him. We have the blue paint, so I'm just going to give him blue eyes. Wiping off my paintbrush. Remember, it's better to let them dry in between. But here, I'm just giving you an idea. I'm just going to take the blue, and I'm going to make a little dot in towards the bottom of his eye. And we just gave him some eyes. So now he's got little specks and lines, and he became a really cute bug. So now you get the idea that you could take any shape of a rock that you want, and you can decorate it and to make it into a beautiful bug. I also want to show you that there are many, many things you could do with these. If you want to keep your rocks in the house, you could add googly eyes with, gluing them on. But if you're going to keep them outside, I would not put any glue because I'm just going to, with the water, the rain, the sprinklers, the glue is going to come off. And the eyeballs will fall off or anything else you want to make on there. But there's so many fun things that you can make with the rocks. I just want to show you some pictures of some professional made rocks. You could take the rocks and you can make emojis on them. These were like professionally painted, or somebody, who can paint neatly. You can make, these were made by putting masks on them. This one has a nice saying. It says, be kind, be good, be strong, be happy, be you. And then you can put them around the town and leave them as decorations everywhere. This one's a pretty fancy one. And that one says, be kind. And these are really cool ones, but that takes a lot of patience and talent to make those, okay? But I'm just giving you some ideas of what else you could do with these rocks. All right, so I hope you guys all had fun. Again, I just want to remind you that if you want those 21st Century Scholar points, you have to send in your picture to the children's room at bethpagelibrary.info by April the 13th in order to get the credits. And please include your name and your grade in the email. Or if you want, you could bring your rocks into the library, show them to us so that we know that you made them. I hope you guys all had fun and learned a lot to make a pet rock. And have a good day, be well, and I hope to see you soon at the library.